Okay, you guys know the drill. Every time we have a guest, we just introduce ourselves and jump right off. I'm Brian Barkis, one of the co-hosts. Goodbye.
I'm Jamal Smith, another co-host. Peace out. Be back in a few.
Good morning, everyone. I am Toni Bailey Rains for the Toni Talk Show. I don't know why every week, every time on the Toni Talk Show, they do that, but it is what it is. They pop on, pop off, do a quick introduction. But today I'm super excited to have Dr. Tamitra Clark with us. You know that I've shared and talked about how important this is to discuss. And so, Dr. Clark, please, I know I have a bio and I can read about you, but I want you to just tell who you are and your connection, obviously, to Altadena and the San Gabriel Valley and what you have been doing since the Eaton fires, which will link us to what we're doing here today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Miss Toni, for having me. So my name is Dr. Tamitra Clark. I am a native of Altadena. So I was born and raised in Altadena, went to all PUSD schools. I am a Mustang through and through. I have a clinical psychology, and I have always wanted to be in the community, never saw myself having this huge private practice because I was very intentional in my degree with it being multicultural community clinical psychology. So wanting to just be out with people and to provide information on a larger scale. I've always used a coaching approach because for me, it's important for whoever I'm sitting with to have a starting place and to have an ending destination and to watch them put the pieces in place to get to their own victory. And so I have been gifted, and God has given me the gift and the ministry of sitting with others in their most vulnerable times during grief and loss. And that ministry was birthed out of the transition of my father passing in December of 2019, and then my brother right on the heels of that, November 2020, right in the midst of COVID, and me being in the mental health field, trying to put that cap on, saying I know what to do. I know what to do. This is what I've done for a living for over 2 decades, and so I know what to do. And it took my aunt to literally shake me and say, "No, baby, it's your turn."
Right.
And I felt my very foundation crumble, and I needed a way. I watched my family, watching them go through this, and I cried out to the Lord because I am a woman of faith, and I asked him, how do I not only support my family, but to also educate others? And he gave me the book, When Numb Is Not Enough. And so I've been blessed to be an Amazon author and have my book to bring me opportunities to sit with others and to do workshops on grief and loss, navigating this, because everyone can have the same event take place and experience it very, very differently. And so throughout the Eaton fires, we have all, as a community in Altadena, had the experience of this devastation happen, but how it has impacted everyone as individuals, as families, as a community looks very, very different. And so it has been my mission to talk about how do we grow as a community, as families, as individuals through this, using a concept called post-traumatic growth and using a language that promotes healing and not hindering.
Because that's really good. That's really, really good. And I heard something else you said in the beginning, which was multicultural therapy, I believe is how you phrased it, which to me is perfect for Altadena because we are, and I always say this to people when they say describe Altadena, we're eclectic, we're diverse in both our cultures, our housing is eclectic. We know we have, everything on one block, from a Tudor to a Spanish style to maybe a James Cottage to whatever, but they're all over Altadena. So not on any one block will you go and see identical houses or anything cookie cutter, which is what makes Altadena so nice. And then our community is the same way. right? You grow up on a street with everybody, whether they're Black, white, Latino, Filipino, Japanese, whatever. And that's what's so nice. And one of the things, like you, Dr. Clark, me growing up there, being at Altadena and since 1968, when my parents bought our house when I was 2, like I didn't experience a whole lot of racism, right? And so when people talk about racism and the stuff that they've grown up in their neighborhoods, it's such a foreign thing to us in Altadena because that's not our life. Whether you're on the east side or the west side, that's not Altadena. And so when you go away, whether it's college or, in the workplace or whatever, once you've graduated from one of the PUSD high schools, preferably the best one, John Muir over on Lincoln, and your Mustang, then you may encounter it, right? In the world, the racism. But growing up in Altadena, whether you went to, like me, Loma Alta Preschool or Audubon or Loma Alta or Altadena School or whatever, we just didn't have that. And so for you to know and be intentional about making sure that your practice was the same as life and your ministry, which is multicultural, super, super important. And then another thing I want to hit on, I want to know the name of your book again, because I want us to put that on the screen and so that people can go to, I believe you said Amazon author, and get that book. So yeah, I like that you said multicultural, and we'll get more into that. But then if you could tell us your book, that would be great. Again.
The name of the book is called When Numb Is Not Enough.
Okay.
And you can get that on Amazon under Dr. Tamitra Clark or the title of the book. And you can also get it from my website, drtamitraclark.com.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I think that one of the important things that we need to talk about, and you talked about post-trauma growth, because post-traumatic growth, right? I know as a veteran with PTSD and CPTSD, what that looks like in my life, what it has looked like, how it has wreaked havoc until I started therapy and started realizing how to manage those triggers and things like that. But I've never heard anything called post-traumatic growth. And I think it's important because so many times someone can get a PTSD diagnosis and stay stuck, right? Because it really takes, even through therapy, you to be able to grow beyond that diagnosis and the triggers and the things that happen so that you can continue on with your life. So tell me more about that, because I've literally never heard that before.
So post-traumatic growth is a concept that actually is not so very old. It was actually thought about in the 80s by 2 psychologists, Tedeschi and Lawrence. And what they did, they looked at the responses that people had after very distressing and psychological times. And they realized that, hey, you can get through this in a different way, right? It does not have to be bad. And it doesn't say that the traumatic event did not happen.
Right.
Or distressing thing did not happen, but it gives us a different way of looking at this and having a different perspective about it. And it pulls off of what is one of my theme signature presentations on the 8 dimensions of wellness, which are your emotional, your physical, your intellectual, your social, your environmental, your financial, your spiritual. And it takes 5 of those elements and it talks about how do we now grow in these areas. So it talks about looking at creating new possibilities. It looks at building your inner strength and finding the inner strength that's within you. It talks about reestablishing relationships, right? Just how do we move forward? And experiencing the Eaton fires is an excellent example of where we can apply this model as individuals, as families, and as a community, and help rebuild and establish the city of Pasadena and its residents so that they can continue to live productive lives in the midst of and beyond what they've suffered.
That's super important because so many people feel like they're stuck. And they just can't go beyond. what to do next, right? A lot of them feel like I just can't move. They're paralyzed or frozen because they're still processing as they should, right?
Absolutely.
At 9 months today, they're still processing this fire and the fact that they've got total loss, or renters that maybe don't have total loss, but, or even if they did have total loss, now what do they do? A lot of them that I've spoken to are like, yeah, I had insurance, but it's $40,000. Like,
Right.
what is that going to do for me? That didn't barely cover what I had, let alone now I have to try to live and, you know, find some place again to rent or whatever. And now with this Edison proposal, you know, renters aren't going to get much either, which is
Right.
really a gut punch and an insult.
Right.
But the fact is, how do, with post-traumatic growth or with the therapy that you offer, how is it that people can process still at 9 months, right? Because some have not even really processed it. Their emotions are all over the place. So what would you suggest that people do first to be like, okay, this is where I am 7 months later, 9 months later, today is the 7th, I'm sorry, 9 months later, without anything that I had, and how do I move forward?
Well, I think it's important that we give ourselves permission. What we don't do as a people is give ourselves permission to grieve, to feel the emotions, to do it when we want to, how we want to, where we want to. So that might mean if I'm driving up late and I look where Rancho used to be, I might pull over and have a moment right there and allow myself to feel whatever I need to feel at that moment. For students, they may go by Elliott and just stand there and look and like, this was my school.
Yeah.
They need to be able to recognize those things and then be able to give it a language. Because the language that society has created around grief and loss is so inadequate. So when we think about it, how many people who have not been impacted by the fire, who have been trying to, you know, show their appreciation and show their empathy, have said, oh my goodness, I am so sorry for your loss. Oh my gosh, you have my deepest condolences. But what does that really mean? At a time when I'm feeling some of the greatest hurt that I could ever feel. And so I think it's important that we allow ourselves to have a language that's going to promote our healing, and that we are very adamant and unapologetic about that language. And when having the conversation, if that language is not respected, we don't get to have the conversation.
Oh,
because you don't get to shape how I go through this process, because it's my process.
Wow. That's really profound. I'm sitting here literally taking notes. I don't need that applause thing, but I'm literally taking notes, and I put permission to grieve, language that promotes healing and grieving. And then that last one, you don't get to decide, or someone else doesn't get to decide how I process it, how I grieve, when I make my decisions or anything. And that for me, I need that, because I'll just be honest. I'm you know, a little frustrated at certain things and processes. And even with my own parents, I'm like, what do you mean you're not sure if you're going to rebuild? Like, we're 9 months out. Let's get this started, right? But they're 83 and 88. I always use them as an example. So mom and dad, if you're in here, you know I do. We'll talk about it later. But I, you know, my dad, I told somebody, I don't know, last week or the other day, my dad snapped at me a couple weeks ago because I was like, well, what are y'all going to do? You know, and he was like, I said, and you're saying now you're not going to rebuild. And he was like, we're not, damn it. And I was like, oh, hold up, you know. And then I said, well, what if mom decides and changes her mind? Then he said it again, then we'll rebuild, damn it. And I was like, okay. So, of course, I'm not mentioning it again because, but my thing is, I was trying to say to him, this is your legacy. You have always said you wanted to pass something down to your children and stuff. And so now you're saying maybe not, right? As far as the rebuild. So that for me, thank you, because I need to make sure my language with them or anybody else promotes the healing and grieving, but I don't get to determine, look, we're 9 months in, you need to decide what you're going to do, right?
Right. Yeah,
place.
society's given us a time limit on this thing, right? When we experience a grief and loss in our families, what do we get on our jobs? You get 3 days,
Right.
maybe 5. If
Right.
you've saved up some PTO, then you may get a few more days. And
Right.
then they want you back at work doing your best. And then they have the audacity to say, and now you got to bring me proof.
Oh yeah, I know, right?
Yes, you got to bring me something that says this was an immediate family member, to be able to even get compensated for that. And so it's just so inadequate. But what's important, and I'm glad you said that your dad was saying this one time and then saying this the other, because those stages of grief are not linear. You have denial, you have bargaining, you have depression, you have anger, you have acceptance, and you could be at any one of those stages at any time. I might start off in denial at 9 a.m. and then find myself bargaining at 9:15. Or I might be at a place of acceptance at 9 a.m. and be like, okay, this is my reality. Let me see how I can pick up the pieces. And then by 9:30 that night, I might be back in denial. And
so can we walk through those? Can
Absolutely.
we walk literally through? I know of denial, right? But you said acceptance, you said bargaining. I've never really heard that. And there may be some more. So I would love to unpack those and really see what that looks like.
So when we talk about denial, each of these stages are necessary, right? So denial is really, what people don't understand is that denial is a protective stage. Denial tells the mind and the body, this is all you can tolerate right now. And until it's safe and you feel safe, then you can move on. We have bargaining. So bargaining is that stage, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Lord, if you just let me get through this, if you just let my loved ones stay here, I'll go to church every Sunday, right? I'll pay my tithes. And we want to bargain, right? And a lot of times the bargaining phase starts even before we actually lose a loved one or person, place, or thing, because loss is not just physical. It is person, place, or thing. And that's what we've experienced here with the Eaton fires. We've lost individuals, we've lost our things, we have lost community. And so then and bargaining says that it's that woulda, coulda, shoulda that happens. Depression, just like your clinical depression. And so there may be times where you isolate yourself, your appetite changes, you are not motivated to do things. And what will make us raise an eyebrow to the depression part is if now they add that suicidal ideation, because now we're looking at a different thing. Now we really have to look at, is it time to bring the professionals in to try to get us over this thing? I venture to say we don't get over it, but we learn how to build tools and strategies and strength to navigate ourselves through it. Then we have anger. And it's not the anger that you get when somebody cuts you off. Right. This anger is connected to the amount of pain and love that you have with that lost object. Because the impact of your grief and your loss is directly correlated to the relationship. So the more connected I am to that relationship, the more anger I'm going to have because of that pain. That pain that says, this thing hurts more than I can give words to describe.
Wow. That makes so much sense though, right? Like when I talked to you last week, I said I really wanted you to come on and speak to the men that watch this program or that may watch it at a later date, because men don't grieve like women do. We wear our emotions on our sleeves. We will cry at the drop of a penny or whatever. And we're emotional beings, right? And we'll get it out. Where men hold it, part of it is because they're taught from the time they're young, you don't cry. You don't, you be the strong one, this kind of thing. And I think that does such a disservice to men, because it cuts them off from who they were born as, which is also emotional beings, right? God gave us, all of us, including our emotions, for a purpose. And you can't act like you don't have that part of you. And men have to act as though I can't be, I got to be strong. I can't cry. I can't show emotion. And it's such a disservice. And so when you're saying, the pain and loss connected to that relationship or that object is the kind of anger. Yeah, that is much different than, because we think about when someone passes away, we get super angry for a minute, and then we do the bargaining thing. Like you said, coulda, shoulda, woulda, what if I were there? What if I, and if it is something like a suicide, right? Then we have a whole nother set of emotions that we deal with. And so I wanted you to come in and talk to the men because, as I stated, I had a friend pass away last week that a few days before, I guess, went in the hospital from having a stroke. I had talked to him ever since the fire, since the week after, periodically, and probably last time a month ago. And we were talking about his loss and the fact that he lost so many properties and they weren't insured. And he couldn't see a light at the end of the tunnel about, what he was going to do. Now, whether that caused the stroke, I can only assume that it contributed to it. But I can't imagine the deep, deep sense of loss or the deep, deep pain that he felt with, this is my legacy that I will leave for my child and everything. And now it's gone and I have no way. And it wasn't like he was being negligent in not being insured. He was, like I told you, he had it, he got dropped, and he the next week was going to send all the paperwork for the new insurance. So who would have thought within a week's time or 2 week time or whatever, this would happen and your everything you've worked hard for is gone. And then on top of it, I'm a man. I'm a Black man, which is a whole nother layer on top of it. And I got to be super strong. I can't show emotion because every time we talked, I was like, are you good, bro? He was like, I'm fine, T, I'm fine. And I was like, are you sure? Is there anything I can do? Is there anything you need? No. I'm just trying to figure this out. I'm good. And so when I got the news that he was in the hospital with stroke, I was like, oh my gosh. And I wasn't bargaining because I knew I had done all I could, but I was still like, did this contribute? Right. And then when I heard he passed, I was just like, wow. So when you and I talked, I was like, could you please come on and speak to the men? Obviously, women, we do what we need to, but speak to the men. And I do want to bring up a couple of these comments, and maybe you can address them from Marcus, because early on, after saying good morning, he said, I feel sometime I am in a mad cycle that keeps throwing me back to the day of the fire. So, and then he says right after that, I feel exhausted from being strong for my family and it's hard to purge my emotions fully. Absolutely. So could you address those comments?
Yes,
with
absolutely.
What you know?
Thank you for those comments, Marcus. So you talked about, Ms. Toni, you mentioned the emotions and how as women, we are emotional beings.
Yes.
And you talked about how society has told men that they're to be strong. When I talk about giving yourself permission, that means also giving yourself permission to go against what you've been taught about this grieving process, what you've learned in your family, what you've learned in your culture. Because as we begin to grow, we have our own experiences and we learn that doesn't sound right or that doesn't work well for me. Right. But what we do, we take those emotions, and if you look at the word emotions, there's another word that's encapsulated inside, which is motion. So our emotions are designed to be fluid. They're designed to have movement. And for most of us as African Americans, especially our men, they hold on to them. They say, no, I can't allow this emotion to go where it needs to go. The emotion doesn't want to be there. They're there to teach us a lesson. They're there to grow us. They're there to strengthen us and say, this is what I need you to get from me. I need you to express me. And because of where we've been, we say, no, I can't do that because then they'll think I'm this and they'll think I'm that. They'll think I'm weak. And what I want our men to know is that giving yourselves the opportunity to express your emotions and to be vulnerable is the greatest sign of strength that you can.
It is. Yeah. I agree.
That you can ever display.
Wow.
And I want you all to allow yourselves to just have that moment and have it the way that you need to have it. And when those thoughts of the fire keep circling back, that's your mind and your body saying, I need you to let me go. Because what happens, what the mind cannot conceive, the body will begin to manifest.
And doesn't it hold trauma anyway? And then it will come later and bring it up when you least
Yes.
expect or want it
And
to.
we talk about, oh my God, now I'm having, I got high blood pressure. But I've never had high blood pressure before. Now my back is hurting. Well, I've never had backaches before. Now I'm having a stroke. I've never been in bad health before, because it finds its way into the pockets of our inner being, and it begins to rest there. And then it begins to manifest itself, and we carry it with us everywhere we go. And subconsciously, you put it on when you get up in the morning. You put on, I gotta be strong. You put on, I gotta be here for my family. You put on, I can't show this because they'll think I'm weak. And you start to break down the systems in your body.
Wow.
So you carry it in what I call our invisible backpacks that we all have.
Yeah.
And wherever we go, it goes. And so, Marcus, I'll offer you the opportunity to let it go. My other thing is, if it comes up, let it come out.
Right.
It's yours. It's yours to be able to express, because it is exhausting trying to hold on to it. That's the exhaustion. And then we don't show up. We can't fully take care of our families when we're not taking care of ourselves.
So tell me this, which leads, yes, to why he's exhausted. But the last part of this, where he says, and it's hard to purge my emotions fully. You just said, let it up, let it out. So even if he needs to be like a little kid and throw a tantrum, lay down on the floor, snot and cry, whatever it is, what would you suggest? Like, how does he fully express his emotions or purge his emotions and really let it out? Because it's easy for me to tell somebody, oh, let it go, right? Which I think is very insensitive depending on what they're going through. Because we know that that's easier said than done. I know in my years of therapy, sometimes you can't just let it go. And it takes some time, and we have to walk in forgiveness for ourselves and then that other party or whatever, right? So how does he learn to purge his emotions fully? Would he do it on his own, or would he do it coming to see someone like you? Or what would your suggestions be for him and others?
He can do it on his own, but he can definitely do it in the safety net of others. So one thing I always do when I'm coaching people through this process, write a letter to your loss.
Oh, wow.
Go to the place. So if you lost your home in the fire, go back to that structure. Write a letter to the fire. How angry you are for what this fire did to your home, what it did to your family, what it did to your community. We've got to confront it. And then we have to give it a voice. It's not good enough just to write it down. And when we're writing, I suggest that we do it in ink, because ink actually has a texture. You can actually feel the words that you're writing on the paper. And I always have them take time to feel what that feels like on your fingers. Do I like what these words feel like on me? And then give it a voice. Say those words out loud, however you need for them to come out. And then as those start coming daily, I always suggest people do what's called thought dumping, which is different from journaling. Journaling means I'm taking things and I'm trying to make sure that my punctuation is right and I'm writing in full sentences and my grammar is right. No, thought dumping means that when you wake up and your mind is going back to that fire, you're getting those words out on a canvas.
So just have a pad and pen somewhere near you at all times.
I carry a notebook in my purse, and my family laughs at me all the time. They're like, oh, just go get her. She has a notebook. You got your notebook, and don't let me change purses and forget I have it. Oh my God. Yeah. I feel like American Express, never leave home without it.
Right. No, but that's so important. Even if it's a little small one, something that you can have for the thought dumping. Oh, wow. Okay, look, I'm going to just say this. I hope go ahead. I'm sorry, say that again.
You then want to replace that thought with words that heal. Because the thoughts you're getting out are the words that are hindering your healing process. So I now want to confront this devastation with inspiration. right? Destruction with regrowth.
Mm-hmm. That's
Right?
like beauty for ashes, right?
Yes,
We're
absolutely.
we're exchanging the beauty for ashes. So obviously we have a whole town that's ashes, and how do we now make it beautiful, right? But even through our thoughts, even through, I never thought about going up to the lot and writing a letter. I've cried, I've been angry, but I'll just say this. Thank you. We are all getting an amazing therapy session pro bono right now today. And I hope everybody watching is really taking in the words and writing them down like I am, because I've been in many years of therapy, right, with the VA. But the stuff that you're saying is different. And it's making me go, oh, wow. Okay, that's thought provoking. So I hope that everyone is really listening and taking the notes that they need, because this is so profound for a lot of people, and will be, especially with these fires. Marcus said, as you were saying that, oh my gosh, I will for sure write a letter to the fire and SCE.
Yes.
We've got Stogieman69 who says writing a letter to your loss is a great suggestion. And then he says, absolutely, I really appreciate Dr. Clark and the ATP for this session. But one thing that he said prior that I didn't bring up yet, and I'm going to bring up now, that will be good to address as well, is the fact that Marcus is challenged because he has to work, right, while processing the fire over and over again. And that's one of his biggest challenges, because, as you know, the ups and downs, like you said, if we're going up Lake Pass in the Rancho or whatever else is important, St. Mark's Pool, if your kid went there and you driving out in a drive, you may need to pull over and have a full breakdown for a minute and live in that moment. But he's working. So is that the same? Like during work, take a break, a quick break or whatever, have your breakdown, and then
we have to be unapologetic about our journey. Remember, we don't owe anybody any explanation about our process. And we can't expect anyone to understand our process because it's not theirs. And that's why it's important that in seeking and in navigating this, that we surround ourselves with a community that can understand, with a like-minded support. And it's also important that we let others know how we need to be supported, because others will try and make an effort to do that just because they want to do the right thing. And oftentimes it causes us more harm. And so it's important that we can verbalize, this is how you can support me today. So if that means going to your supervisor and say, you know what, I'm still really trying to work through this, and there may be moments where I just need to take a 5 or 10 minute break and go have my moment. Can you support me in that way? That's how you support me right now. That's good. Wow. I can just think about so much, but to talk about, but it literally, what you've been saying for the past 35 minutes or so is like, just by what I've been writing down, I feel like I could breathe a little easier. And we all have been dealing with this for all these days, right? This is month 9 today. And yes, for all of us that may not live in Altadena, didn't physically live in Altadena, but we consider ourselves lifelong residents, because we are. I mean, my parents' address is my permanent address for life, regardless of exactly. And all the loss that we've had, right? Our elementary school, our junior high school, our, all of this, the churches, growing up going to what was Thrifty's on Lake, which is now, I think, was a Chase Bank, but it was Thrifty's, then became Rite Aid. But to see everything gone, Webster's amazingly stood and all the stuff there. But like you said, where Rancho is, where Steve's Pets was, where Bank of America, the old Security Pacific Bank on the corner, like the Altadena hardware store where all of it has shopped, and the cleaners and everything there. And to go by now and just see the bricks standing, and then, they're all saying they're going to rebuild, but the Jack in the Box stood, but Everest didn't. Where the pizza place and the bakery and the post office and the flower shop, like all that is gone. And so when you drive through, it does make you sometimes just go,
I got to pull over and cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because even if you look at the picture behind me, all that's not there. All those trees, all those buildings, a lot of that is just no longer existent.
It's charred. It's just
or
it's
empty
kind of
now.
an eerie feeling when you drive through there. It's still very surreal, and it's just like I'm gonna wake up. This is just a dream. I'm gonna wake up, and all this is gonna be over. And it's just not. It is our reality right now.
It really is.
It is our reality, and as a community, we are coming upon the first holiday season after such a devastating loss.
Which is exactly why we are doing this holiday event at Thanksgiving, the luncheon, and partnering with you to be there and have a few words, and others who will be there and sponsor and support, because it's the first Thanksgiving. We literally had Thanksgiving in my parents' house last year.
Yes.
We don't get to do that this year.
We don't get to do that.
At the old house. We can go to where they temporarily are, but we don't get to be there as a family like we did. And 6 weeks later, that same house was gone. So talk about that. The holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all coming up. The first one outside of what we know as our town and our homes there.
And so navigating this season is going to be like none other for the whole community. Because like you just said, Toni, we won't be able to go to, my house as we knew it. We don't get to go to grandma's house. We don't get to go to Uncle Bob's house because it's not there. And for some people, they will wonder, do I even want to do this? Do I even want to celebrate? And I would offer you do. And so this is part of that post-traumatic growth process where we look at how do we create new beginnings. And if you can even be a support to a family who does not have connections and they don't have a place to go, we're a community. Offer your place. Come have dinner with us. I know my mom's house is called the Big House, so people just look for it. And it was amazing during the fires. It was almost like, are you kidding me? People literally called, and instead of saying, are you all okay? How are things going? You know what the first thing they said, Miss Toni? Is the Big House still standing?
Oh, yeah. And
so that was meaningful.
Yes, absolutely.
That said that means something to us. If the Big House isn't there, oh my goodness, what are we going to do?
What do we do? Yeah.
So we know that our doors have to be open.
Yeah.
For whoever may need to come, because they just want a big hug. And so as a community, if we have the space to invite others in, that's what we want to do. And you're doing that by opening up a whole facility to start bringing people together. And even I'm sure they're going to be having memorials and maybe candle lighting, just as a community, we can hit some of these places where we used to celebrate Thanksgiving, where we used to celebrate in the community for Christmas, and just go and just gather there and still let those places be what they are. They're still there. They just look different.
Look different. And will forever look different.
Will forever look different. But that does not mean I can't do that anymore. I can't be this anymore. We just have to relabel the labels. Give them a new label.
That's good, because everybody's like, oh, Altadena will never be the same. No, it won't.
It won't.
But the memories we share and have in our hearts and our minds will never go away, including the fire, but all the stuff before, right? And we talk about it all the time. We have our Way Back Wednesdays, and we laugh, and people get on and we talk about all the places we used to do, what we used to do. We talked about, I remember growing up, because Farnsworth was a block above our house and one block to the east, right? And we would go up there for summer camp, and we're used to Kool-Aid in our house. But at Farnsworth Park summer camp, it wasn't Kool-Aid. It was that other imitation Kool-Aid.
Yes.
Remember? And it was not good. And it was not good. But those kind of memories are like, and then you'd go home and be like, I need some Kool-Aid, some real Kool-Aid, because that stuff was not Kool-Aid, whatever it was named. But we talk about that on Way Back Wednesdays to help in the healing, to help bring up the memories and talk about all the stuff that we had growing up. And yes, we'll never have that stuff again. Our homes may look a little different. Some people are like, no, I want to build it back to look the exact same on the outside, which is great, right? If that's what they want. So some of the houses will never look the same as what they did. I know people that had huge lots that are like, I'm not putting the same big old house. It's just me. My kids are gone. But I'm like, they should build 2 houses, right? One for them, one for their child who has a kid and all that. And they all live on the same lot, right? But people can do what they want. But that's the beauty of now with the rebuild and the recovery. We do whatever. We come back eclectic. It may look different, but community is still there. The hearts are still there. Go on.
And one thing that I encourage families to do over the holidays is to start creating what I call a grief and loss vision board.
Oh, wow.
So you take the memories that you've had, and now we want to put them in a place where it's visual. So we create our own family murals. This is what I miss about my city, about my community, about my home, about my family. And these are the new things I'm looking forward to creating. And so you have a past, but you're bringing it into a new future.
Wow.
And you can look at it every day and say, that's what I'm working towards. So when it starts to get heavy and it starts to weigh on you, you have something that you can visually connect to. You can put your hands on it. You can touch it. You can smell it. I always incorporate our senses. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it taste like? What would it say if it could speak to you, right? What does it what comes up for you? What is it? What do you hear when you walk down the street? Incorporate those things into your healing process and use those things to propel you forward.
That's interesting. I don't know that I would be able to do that. Not right away. Like that vision board. We know about vision boards that we every January or December say, oh, this is what I want to achieve next year, yada, yada, yada. But to do it with the loss part, I think that for me personally would be extremely challenging. So I would be like, Dr. T, you're going to have to walk me through this whole process.
It develops over time, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That you go in those stages, because you may put something on there and decide, no, I don't want that on there.
Yeah.
You may put something on there and you decide, oh, I do want that on there. So it's going to change because how you deal with those stages are going to change. Yeah. And where you find yourself moving and shifting in life, that's part of the beauty of it. You get to change it and create it to be whatever you want it to be.
We have another question that I want to bring up so you can see and respond to as well. It says, for those that have put up a wall to hide their emotions, being strong, tough, whatever, right? How do you suggest that they recognize that there is that wall and so they can begin their healing?
We recognize that there is a wall when we become numb. When we find ourselves casually going through our day like nothing's even happened. So, for example, when you were asking your friend, are you okay? Yeah, I'm good. That was that wall.
He kept saying that. Yeah.
I got it. I'm good. So we want to listen to the words that people are saying, because they will tell us in their language that I got a wall up. This is too much for me. Their body language will begin to say, this is too much for me.
And I would always say, you sure? Is there anything I could do or whatever? Trying to ask, but he would always say, no, T, I'm good. And I was like, I mean, I'm not a professional. So all I knew was to say, hey, just checking on you, or are you good? Or is there anything you need from me? Is there anything I can do? And him saying I'm good, I didn't know that really he wasn't, right? So, yeah.
But what you did, we're using your words of healing, because those words are more meaningful and are more authentic than someone saying, now, okay, well, let me know if you need anything. Well, call me if you need me. That's the furthest thing from my mind.
Right.
That's the sometimes we don't need to say anything.
Right.
Sometimes just knowing that you have a presence is all I need to get me through the next 5 minutes of my day.
Wow. Okay. And then Marcus did say, after we were talking earlier, he said that he does feel he has some ways to release and heal. So thank you. Because I'm telling y'all, this is a whole entire therapy session in itself. And I'm very grateful, Dr. T, that you came back on, because you came on when I was overseas and on my vacation. And you had some real technical difficulties and challenges.
And that was not okay.
And so they told me, and I was like, okay, well, yeah, we'll have her come back on. So it was perfect, because literally I was thinking last week, how do we not have more people, especially our men, hold on to this stuff, not be able to release it, and maybe have health issues or pass away. And you had reached out to Jamal saying, hey, I want to talk to Toni and see about coming on. And it was the perfect timing, because God's timing is always perfect, and the perfect connection to bring you back on today. So I'm so thankful. And I've already put my added your book to my Kindle library. Well, and I will be reading that via Kindle. I will probably also order the paperback, because even though I have Kindle and we'll read it through my phone app or whatever. I like having paperback, because when I need to highlight something, I need to get in there, underline it, highlight it, whatever. So I'm quite sure that I will be purchasing it as well. But
I appreciate it. The exercises that I talk about are actually in the book. And so I use the book when I am doing workshops and navigating this process. And so with that, there's actually, and it starts tonight. I don't know who all is aware, but we're doing something called Taco Tuesdays. Talko Tuesdays.
Oh,
and those 8 dimensions of wellness that I talked about, they're taking 7 of those, and it's just specifically for the Eaton Fire victims. And so it's being sponsored by the Widow's Treasurer. So if you go to the widowstreasurer.org, the families, they must register. And it is a 7-week interactive workshop series designed to support long-term recovery for those impacted by the fire. Okay. And so it'll open up tonight with looking at, we have Tasega talking about the personal impact of the fires and how to navigate that. Then someone in week 2 will talk about the mental part of it. I'll come on week 3 and talk about how do we deal with this emotionally, and also from a marriage perspective, the emotions within a marriage. There'll be a pastor talking about that. So each week we will tackle one of these areas of wellness so that people can have sustainable recovery, knowing that there will be moments of setbacks. But when you have your toolbox, it's easier to go back and say, wait a minute, I think I need this for this. I think I need this for that. And so you're surrounding yourself with resources that you can use. And there'll be appetizers and then also dinner for those. So please go on there and register. It's feeding the body, the soul, and the spirit. And that actually starts tonight.
I had a little bit of trouble finding it, but it is the widowstreasure.org. Mm-hmm. Right. So I did find it. I'm sure they'll pop it up in a minute. And there was another comment that Philip Turner. Yeah, that Philip Turner had. His comment I'm just going to put up while they're bringing up whatever in the background. But how do you handle dealing with so many things at one time is his question to you, Dr. T.
We can't deal with them all at one time. And so as a society, we are an instant gratification society. We want to take everything, throw it in the microwave, put it on 30 seconds, beep, 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 comes out, everything is done. It's not. This process is a crock pot process. So
Wow.
every slice of the potato is an ingredient that's necessary to get you to the next stage, and it must be done one at a time. We think everything is a priority, but it's not. Your health, your well-being is a priority. And so I would look at those top 3 things that are really pressing you, and then navigate them one by one. If you may not get to them all, and what we'll find as we start addressing one, just like that domino effect that unraveled it, it'll start to repair itself. And it won't mean that we don't have any work to do in that area. We won't have to work as hard.
Nice. So hopefully that helped you a little bit with your question, Philip. And Jamal, would you mind bringing up again the website, the Widow's Treasure? That is thewidowstreasure.org. And you said that Taco Tuesdays, which is up at the top, is where people need to click
and register.
Okay. And these are going to be held, it says limited to 40 participants RSVP here. And it even talks about on the left side, there's the flyer that talks about a 7-week interactive workshop series designed to support long-term recovery for those impacted by the fire. This will be on the campus of Lake Avenue Church, which is on Maple and Lake. And it is in room 300. And then on the right side is another, talks about which date, right? And it says Taco Tuesdays, feed the body, soul, and spirit. And so if you go on the website, you should be able to see all of that. And you probably have to enlarge it a little bit.
Yes.
But yeah, but if you do, you should be able to see like which day everything is. So it has October 7th. Topics are personally, mentally is next Tuesday. Emotionally is October 21st. The 28th is creatively. Physically is November 4th. As we talked about, the body will hold trauma. It will come out physically. Financially, November 11th. You know what? A lot of people don't think about that when it comes to trauma, but being an MST survivor and PTSD, CPTSD, all of that, I was one that I was for a long time not good at all with my finances. And I was literally a shopaholic. And I had to have like the best of this, the best of that, because I was masking. And so it was, if people on the outside could see that I got it together, but inside I was so torn up until I started therapy, which took a lapse of 33 years from the trauma until the time I just didn't know I could even go, just a bunch of stuff. But that financial piece is huge. And a lot of people would never know that as a result of trauma, you can have financial instability and some real financial things happen. And then the November 18th is the spiritually, Broderick's going to do that one. Well, he'll be there as a comedian.
He's going to be the entertainment that night.
Okay, I was going to say, Broderick's going to do it.
Break it a little bit, just to kind of ease
to break that, which is great, right? So I think that's going to be amazing. And I would encourage anybody who was impacted. Granted, I've been impacted, but I wouldn't take up a slot for this. Whereas I would tell my parents, do you want to sign up for this? Or my sister or someone who, like Marcus, was directly impacted, meaning they had the total loss. They're displaced, all of that. So, and I say that because a lot of times we have events happen that people come because they're from the community, may not live there when it happened, but we've all been impacted. But this has literally 40 slots. So please make sure that we reserve those for those people and that we don't feel, we might need this too, but there may be something later for people that were impacted, but not those that had the total loss or whatever, right? Whether you are a renter or a homeowner, if you think that this can benefit you, and I believe it could benefit everybody, please go to thewidowstreasure.org. Look for Taco Tuesdays up in that right-hand corner. It's highlighted in gold, and click there and register, because I think this is going to be a phenomenal series that everyone can learn from and share amongst their friends and family, and even still get it out, even though they may not attend this particular series.
And I'll be there every week, but I'm not presenting until week 3. So I'll be there just to offer support for anyone who may want to pull me to the side, may have some words. I'll have books there, and we'll be talking about just whatever they want to talk about. They just need a hug. I'll be there for a hug.
Right. Okay. That's fine. I think, again, it'll be fabulous. I might stop by just to get a hug and say hi, but then leave. But it's going to be phenomenal. And then you and I also spoke about something, and I think that it's important we discuss it now. How can people who have just benefited from this hour, because shoot, I might tell the VA in the future, I want to go to Dr. Clark. Y'all work it out and pay her. But how can people who have watched this hour and gained some really amazing insight from you and some tools, if they want to work with you? Because like Philip and Marcus have got on here and asked questions, right, that are impacted by this, how would they be able to connect with you so that they can do that? Do we have your I don't know, is it a website they would go to and sign up, or a phone number, or what would they do?
They can always go to the website, which is drtamitraclark.com, or they can call me at 626-328-7794.
626-328-7794.
Yes.
Okay.
5 scholarships for 3 pro bono grief and loss coaching sessions.
Oh, thank you.
So the first 5 people that text me will be the lucky ones. And then I'll have more to offer at the lunch on the 4th.
On the 22nd.
22nd, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. So anybody, if you just heard what Dr. Clark said, if you are watching and you feel that you could benefit from her coaching, her therapy, please reach out to her either via text or on the website, because Dr. Clark has just offered 5 people scholarships for 3 sessions with her that are at no cost to you, that are pro bono. Even if that helps you to begin to work through your process and what you're going through, please feel free to take her up on that. But it is the first 5 people. So if you're watching and want to do it now. If you're not watching and you watch a rerun, you can try. Don't know if those 5 will still be available, because there may be 5 people on here that are like, oh, I'm getting it right now. But Dr. Clark, God bless you. Thank you so much for that.
My pleasure.
That warms my heart. Like,
anytime.
I'm gonna start crying. That really warms my heart, because you may not live in Altadena right now. Your practice may not be there right now. Like, I don't live there right now, right? And I'm not talking about like everybody else who do them, but we are still so connected to our hometown. That will forever be our town. And so you are giving back like amazingly. And Marcus is saying, are these in-person sessions, or how will you work it out?
In person, or they can be Zoom.
Okay. So either or.
Whatever your comfort level is.
Okay. Yeah, that's amazing.
Someone just text from 424, but they did not leave me a name.
So whoever texts Dr. Clark from a 424 area code, please text her
leave me a name
and say, this is so-and-so. I just saw you on AltadenaTalks podcast, and I want to have a session. That way Dr. Clark will know who you are, because you need to let her know, right? You can't just text and say, I want a session. Please let her know that you saw her today on either the Toni Talks show or AltadenaTalks podcast. That will be the key for her, that you are one of the 5 that will get these pro bono sessions.
Amen.
Woo! Wow. We are at about time. It is 11:01, but I'm really full right now. This was an amazing hour with you. I thank you for giving us this hour, for reaching back out to say, hey, I need to circle back because we had the technical difficulties last time, but I really want to, and then for you and I to connect, and specifically that I asked you, can you speak to a lot of the men? Not that women do not matter, because we do, but we are emotional beings. We are emotional creatures, and we will grieve. When I got the call that morning at 3:45, I hung up and I started screaming. Where my sons that were here came to my room like, Mom, what's going on? Are you okay? And I just wailed, right? Because as women, we will. Men, it is such a struggle or a challenge for them. Like you said, because of the norms of society, let's cut through that and go against the norm.
Absolutely.
And do what we need to do to process, to heal, to grieve, to do all of that. So I'm super thankful for you coming on today and offering those sessions and giving us this hour-long session, because I took some pretty copious notes. And this is recorded, so people can always go back and watch it or rewatch it, and then reach out to you. So what would your, I don't want to say last words, but maybe parting words for the show be for anybody watching today?
I always end by saying, give yourself permission to be unapologetic, to embrace the pain, honor the loss, and live intentionally.
That's deep. I like that. I love that. Thank you. Is there anyone that has any other questions for Dr. Clark? There are comments from Marcus that this is such a blessing. He also says he will be rewatching this episode for sure. And then we have from Stogieman69, very powerful show. Thank you, Dr. Clark.
My pleasure. I will be reaching out to those shortly.
Thank you. Got a lump in his throat with those words. Yeah, me too. You see me trying to hold back tears and voice cracking and all that. But whew. So Jamal and Brian have popped back on prior to this. Just know, everybody, that this event that we're doing, which Jamal will again say during our announcements, Dr. Clark has agreed to partner with us. We don't know exactly what that looks like right this second, but we are going to be doing something together for the event on the 22nd. Marcus and I'm sorry, Jamal and I'm sorry, Jamal. I know Marcus is your cousin. Jamal and Brian, you both popped back on. You have comments?
Well, I wanted to thank you, Dr. Tutu. Dr. Tamitra Clark. First of all, because I've known you for a long time, and I remember you in high school and everything, and you didn't have this particular knowledge. Thinking back, I see that you had the character to develop into who you are right now, and I appreciate the path that you took. I appreciate the fact that you are sharing the blessing that was instilled in you and to you with everyone, and I see the benefits or the rewards that you're getting from it. And I know it's not something you're looking for, but it's just a natural progression when you're actually giving of yourself to others who need it. This conversation today was amazing. As you can hear from Marcus and from some of the other questions there's some deep questions and some folks that really wanted to know how to kind of navigate where they currently are right now. Yeah. So I think this is powerful. Thank you. Helpful for me, helpful for many, many people. I will share this episode many times, and I'm glad you came back on for part 2, because I felt really bad for the first time. I think you had powerful things to say then too. Those technical difficulties were really hindering those. But thank you for coming back on. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me again. I really appreciate it. I don't take any of these moments for granted when he presents opportunities for me to share what only I can get from him, because me in and of myself can't even think to put something to even be able to think that far out the box. So I give him all glory for that.
Awesome.
Brian?
I'm just glad you were able to come back on, but I wanted to tell you that your technical difficulty show got as the second highest video that we had in views. So regardless of what you thought about it, people got the message. So
Good.
Appreciate you. T and I have worked together, building sites for her early stages of her therapy years ago. And her brother was a really good friend of mine. I mean, that dude, and he was just a really cool dude. It was,
Very
and
much so.
when they grieved, I grieved. I mean, because it shouldn't have happened to him, you know. And so, and I'm gonna stop talking about that because I don't want to cry. It's a lot of. I have been the most emotional creature this year, crying because rain came down. Mad because it didn't come down. No, I'm crying because I'm mad that it didn't come down that night. You know, stuff like that.
Yes.
It's just weirdo stuff. Like I don't even know how to decipher the message of why I'm going through emotional things sometimes. But yes, I got a lot going on, and this podcast has been therapeutic, but up to a point, it can't take me to the next level. And I know I need help. I find myself snapping at people, getting too emotional, won't talk to you for 2 weeks. But I was like that anyway, but you know, still.
So did you sign up for one of the sessions?
I was the one that didn't give the name.
Oh,
But then I didn't realize she didn't have my new phone number.
Right.
good. I'm glad.
Let me
'Cause
just tell
Brandon and I
y'all,
talked about
every
it.
time something is mentioned on this show, I am the first one to test the QR code, test the things, send the link. But this time I had to just send it, you know, I need this, team. I need this. So,
Amen. Well, you got me.
I will be there at Talk O Tuesdays. Hopefully they'll be serving up some
Did you register?
no, not yet.
Please do. There's 40 slots
Please
available.
register.
Please register.
I didn't look at it because I was thinking about the other thing.
Okay.
Well, I
I
know
wanted to text first.
if they have more than that, they are going to offer another session earlier during the day, but that depends on how many register.
Oh, I'm sure they'll be adding another session.
And let me
It
just
should
say
be a
this,
lot of
Dr.
fun.
Clark. I'm super thankful because Brian is part of us, right? We do this together. But we've been talking to Brian, and I talk to him sometimes when I go to the office or on the phone, and I'm like, dude, you really need to get some help. Not in a negative way, but try to be supportive, right? Because he talks to us about stuff. And this started as part of his therapy, right? And it continues to be daily. But I think he needs that extra level, which is that professional stuff, because this is great as supporting him in the community. But just what I learned in the last hour from you, I'm so thankful that he was one of the first 5, because I know, Jamal knows, you know, and he knows that he needs it and needs to take that step. So if this even pushed him to that, thank you so much for coming back and being there again today. And I'm glad that he's going to even go to Taco Tuesday, because a combination of both of those, I think, will be fabulous.
Yeah.
And I think Marcus reached out to you as well, and he said he almost forgot his name. He was trying to rush to make sure he didn't miss a slot.
Don't be doing that, y'all. Put your name on it.
And I appreciate
thank you.
You answered real quick before the way you answered that question about folks who did have the wall up and didn't know exactly how. Some people, so here's the thing, a lot of times with guys, and it goes to what Toni had mentioned earlier about how you were raised and what have you, but you get so used to maneuvering or moving through life, kind of dampening and pushing down those emotions, that it becomes normal. And in some instances, I know a lot of folks don't even realize that they are doing that. So I think, you know, the way you answer that question, and I just, you know, expounding on it, I mean, that is me, Stogie69, just in case you were wondering. But I know many people, some instances me, but I know a lot of other folks who actually do have that wall, and they don't know that it's there. So even maneuvering in life, you know, kind of numb, like you had indicated, is there another step maybe that they can even recognize that they're just kind of numb? So they can say, hey, look, I'm doing this. Maybe this might mean, you know, I'm, you know, holding back on some emotions and maybe take it to the next step. Because I think a lot of folks are just ignorant to what they're kind of dealing with on a day-to-day
Well,
basis.
and I wouldn't even call it ignorant because you don't know what you don't know.
Well, that's what I mean it by its true definition, not by the negative connotation. Ignorant
Right.
by definition just means you don't know, and that's all I meant by that. There's nothing negative about it.
And so, well, yeah, I know. I'm sure you didn't mean anything negative, but for me, what that looks like is sometimes it takes others bringing it to our attention because we absolutely don't. And then, like you said, we become so comfortable and accustomed to it. Sometimes we do know, but because we're so comfortable with it, we'd rather stay with what is familiar, even though we know over here has got to be something different. That means I've got to shift something and I've got to let something go. So that creates another loss for me.
Okay.
And
Great.
how do I keep adding them up as I'm moving forward? But I tell you guys, the work on the self is the most difficult work that we will ever do. There is not an occupation we can have that compares to it. Because we have to look at the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. And if we're honest with ourselves, we don't want to do that. We want to do that.
Valid point. I appreciate that response. Last comment there was Marcus had indicated that this is one of the most powerful episodes to date. Thanks again, Dr. Clark and Altadena Talks podcast family for this. I'm better because of today's episode. Man, that's amazing. That is amazing.
That's what the goal is.
It means a lot.
That's absolutely what the goal is, to keep bringing the right people on that will benefit our town, our community. So thank you, Marcus.
All right.
All right. Now, does everybody feel like we could just take a deep breath and
exhale?
Yeah, like I could breathe better. Brian, can you take a deep breath, please? Exhale.
I just need some tacos, man.
Some tacos.
It's Taco Tuesdays. That does not mean tacos are on the menu. There's a different menu every week.
No, because we always talk about food after the podcast.
Right. And he's gonna go get some tacos because it is Taco Tuesday.
Because it
and
is
then
Taco
he comes
Tuesday.
to Taco Tuesday tonight.
Exactly. So I'm gonna get mine beforehand.
Right. Anyway, thank you, Dr. Clark. We are at the end of this part. We'll transition to our announcements, which Jamal will do. You are welcome to stay, but I know as a doctor and with what you do, you probably have clients, and if you'd like, you can drop. If not, you want to hang with us, that's cool too. But ever grateful for you being on today, and look forward to partnering with you in the future.
My pleasure.
However we can. You coming back, us doing things together for events, whatever we do. Because we're all Altadenians and Mustangs, the best of the best.
Yes. All right, you guys have a blessed day.
Take care.
Have a great day.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good
Tony, you
stuff.
got on that leopard today, huh? What's that song?
No,
Never
listen. You say,
Yeah.
I do it like this.
Right.
Right. And look, even
Can it get any darker?
look, even the glasses. We are so dumb. We are so dumb.
She was the best Catwoman ever.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, so
But she was Catwoman in Boomerang. Marca.
Marcus laughing at
I
us.
know they teased him about that forever.
If I put
Every
these
time I
on,
talk to him.
I'm just totally
No.
animalistic today. If I put glasses and the leopard and the whatever print on, right? The animal print.
You gonna be making singing that song, Centipede.
Yeah, but you're talking about, you said, yeah. No, that sounds like a regular cat. This right here would be.
Right. That's
Good
like
job.
Cardi B's occur.
Or whatever.
But I can't do it. But that's what she does. It's okay, but she rolls the rest of it out. It's
The
cool.
R and puts a T on the end. Okay.
Right.
Or whatever they do, these young kids. Anywho, that's a great place to transition now.
I might not even have to get tacos. It says it includes appetizers and dinner. I might not have to eat. Might eat there.
You talking about for that event?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at the flyer.
You might be able to get your. So I was thinking about announcing that, but with 40 seats, I don't know.
Well, it does say if it's more than 40
that, we'll add a
people, then
session.
they'll add a session from 12 to 3. Because this one's from 5:30 to 8:30, so they'll probably do it differently.
Yeah, get it. I mean, announce it. Shoot. I mean, we just announced it here.
Yeah, you might as well, because I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure they haven't hit 40 yet. You might hit 40 after you announce it. You want me to grab that for you?
No, I got it already.
Fine then.
I got it. Yeah, I'm just gonna add it here. Oh no, not that.
Yeah, this is a great show.
You know, you had your hand over your mouth, and I thought you was talking like this.
Yeah, really good show.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
All right, y'all. Let's go on
Here
with
we
these
go.
announcements.
I'll do the announcements. All right, so I'm just going to start with what's going on for the week. I'm not going to do the permit center and the resource center today. So we're going to start with the Freedom Shop, which is every Monday and Tuesday, put on by Harambe. Hold on, let me get over here. I know I always do this. Sorry about that. So it's from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. in Harambe, which is at 1609 Navarro Street in Pasadena. Some of the items that they're going to have are toiletries, home essentials, and there'll be much, much more. In order to participate in this, you do need to register. So please scan the QR code, or you can go to tinyurl.com/Harambe Freedom Store. All right, let me hide this. All right, cool. Then we have the free mental and health clinic put on by Eaton Health Village, which is every Monday and Wednesday. It's from 12 to 5 p.m. They offer walk-ins, or you can actually walk in to schedule your future appointment. This is located at 1280 East Washington Boulevard in Pasadena. If you actually have some questions, you can reach out to 951-595-7032. Then LA Fire Justice is continuing their ongoing workshop series designed to provide a roadmap and answer to your questions about the rebuilding process. Today is the last one in this particular section of the series, where they're going to be discussing your rebuild game plan. The location of the event is the Altadena Coalition, which is at 409 East Woodbury Road. Opening remarks begin at 6:30. Then at 6:45, the guest speakers will begin, and that'll be followed by Q&A at 7:30. And then the Home of Kings and Queens are actually putting on a schedule of events for October. So every Wednesday, so the 1st, the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th, they're saying come get some free groceries. It's a pop-up market. It's from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Be located at 735 East Altadena Drive in Altadena. And then on Sundays, the 5th and the 19th, they'll have a wellness event. So it's a free health screening. There'll be resources as well as family fun activities. It'll be from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. This will be located at 2560 North Fair Oaks Avenue in Altadena. And then on Monday, the 27th, there'll be a healing and recovery. It'll be bingo and burgers, family fun and resources from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Again, at 2560 North Fair Oaks Avenue in Altadena. These last two events are actually at Fair Oaks Burger. So for more information, let me move this banner real quick. So for more information, you can actually go to you can go to homekings13@gmail.com. And then tomorrow, Juicy Little Finds Thrift Store presents We Out Here Market, which is going to be, again, every Wednesday from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. at the world famous Fair Oaks Burger, 2560 North Fair Oaks Avenue in Altadena. Please make sure that you bring your proof of your Altadena residency. It's your ID. That way you can partake in a lot of the fun, free activities such as the farmer market, the vegan hot meals, groceries, hygiene products, thrift store pop-up, legal advice, free love and prayers, and much, much more. They do ask that you bring your own bag. And if you would like some additional information about We Out Here Market or any other Juicy Little Finds projects, you can reach out to juicylittle.org. LA Fire Justice does each week have a Ask an Attorney Eden Fire virtual office hours. It's no cost and no appointment is necessary. It's from 4:30 to 5:30 every Wednesday, and you can scan this QR code for the link. They host these office hours to discuss the Eden Fire and their case against Southern California Edison. So join the Zoom every week, every Wednesday, to speak with one of the attorneys and get your questions answered. And for the businesses, there's a free recovery event, your digital comeback. It will allow you to build your digital growth, craft your resiliency plan. It'll be Wednesday, October 8th from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Location is at the Altadena Main Library, which is 600 East Mariposa Street in Altadena. Participants are going to leave with a business resiliency roadmap as well as resources on how to use digital tools. And if you'd like to participate in this event, please scan the QR code at the bottom of the flyer, or you can go to bit.ly / the number 4, then lowercase MAD as in David, L, the number 5, and then capital N as in Nancy. And then we have a photo log of Altadena to Sweden put on by Alfred Heyman, who's the photographer. It's going to be this Friday, October 10th, from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Red Hen Press. This is located at 1540 Lincoln Avenue, and it's part of Art Night Pasadena. For additional information, please scan the QR code on the flyer. And Toni had mentioned this yesterday. Hey, if you're interested in running for the Altadena Town Council, you can submit your application. There's a $35 fee, and they accept check, money order, or Zelle. Include a one-page statement of qualifications, and the deadline for the applications is October 17th, 2025 at 5 p.m. If you scan this QR code, it'll take you to the application if you're interested. I think you should, Toni.
I can't.
Okay, well then don't.
Yeah, I've thought about it, but I read.
No, I know you don't live there, so.
Yeah, really well last night, and I was like, darn, I could easily be like, that's my permanent address, yada yada yada, but I don't want to do that. I want to be honest, and
of course,
but trust. Even if I ain't on the town council, I'm gonna be super involved, like I am, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then the Black Legacy Voice echoes our truth, our lenses, our legacy, our story, Pasadena, Altadena community. It's an exhibition of memory, resilience, and community care. It's going to be at the Bob Lucas Memorial Library, which is at 2659 Lincoln Avenue. The exhibition goes on from October 12th to the 31st of this month, and there will be an opening reception on Sunday, October 12th from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And then the Building Industry Association of Southern California, along with Builders for Better Better Communities Foundation, is putting on the Rebuild LA Resource Fair. It's going to be Tuesday, October 14th, which is next Tuesday. It's going to be located at Noor at the Paseo, and it will be at from 5 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Location is 300 East Colorado Boulevard. It is Suite 200. It is on the second floor. Let me bring this up real quick. For more information, you can actually reach out to Melissa Auten, AUTEN, at Melissa at homeaidocla.org, or you can reach out to Patrice Quisenberry at patriceq@williamsrebuild.com. And if you'd like to register, and all fire victims are welcome, and in particular, it's free for those who lost their homes. For registration, you would go to biasc.org/events. And then last but not least, we have the Altadena Talks Foundation. This is our Day of Thanks Community Luncheon, which is going to take place on Saturday, November 22nd. It'll be from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Loma Alta Gym. It'll be at 3330 North Lincoln Avenue in Altadena. Please scan the QR code that is on the screen to register your family. Please share it with others so that they can actually register as well. We are looking forward to having the community come out, reacquaint themselves with one another, see folks you haven't seen in a while, see folks that you have seen, but just, to have a nice event where you can get a nice free meal and, fellowship with one another. It should be a great event. With that, I'll bring Toni and Brian back to the screen. And man.
And I also just put the link in the chat for everybody too, because again, if they're watching or they need to just go on the link instead of scanning the QR code, they have that as well. AltadenaTalks.org/ATF meal sign up.
Absolutely. Toni, that was a great show today.
Thank you. Yeah, she's wonderful.
I wish we had better reception last time, because she was saying powerful stuff back then too, but this actually made up for it and then some, I really think.
Well, and I think
dim sum, is that what we eat this month? Dim sum, because I think people, similar to what you were talking about before, when you set up the Builders Town Hall, you knew most folks weren't ready technically at that time, but you kind of wanted to plant the seed, so to speak, so that they knew what was happening. I think her message now is far more powerful than it was. It hits different. Let's just say that.
Absolutely.
It hits different now than it did when she originally came on. Because again, she said great stuff, and you could tell by the responses and the engagement. And I have a feeling this will probably, get some nice reviews and rewatches, and our numbers will be pretty good related to that, because it's so helpful. So
it's just a different it's a different phase, right? She talked about the different phases. And again, when we had the town hall 2 months after, it was, let's get you starting to even think about, and because nobody knows what it takes to rebuild, let's talk about it. And like you said, plant that seed, right? Obviously, so many people have connected with a lot of the builders we had. Several have already broke ground. Several are about to lay slabs. Like, it's happening, which is good. But if we would have waited till all this time, we see that now there's everybody and their mama coming out to Dina talking about, I could build, I could do this, I could do that. And it would have been, in my opinion, a lot more confusing to hear from all these different people now that are just flooding Altadena on a larger scale. It was a more intimate 250 people, and they got to hear. And I did it at my church because 46 families from my church, had total loss, including like my family with 2 and different people. And, the Betts who were there, Marcus was there, and different people. So that was important to, let people at least hear and understand. Now we're in another phase, and things are happening still rapidly, but differently. And people are still not fully processing at 9 months, right? And not that it's a timeline, but I just kept feeling that in my spirit. And so she knew to contact you. And today was fabulous. And I hope that people go and rewatch it if they weren't able to watch the whole thing. Take your time, go through this hour long, listen to the tools that she gave today, the breakdown on different aspects of processing or grieving, which she talked about: denial, bargaining, depression, anger. There's many more. And do what you need to for yourself. You guys have heard me say this a million times. Practice self-care, take care of you, because this is something nobody's ever experienced and we never thought we would. And so we're in a different space. What she talked about with that vision board thing, I just had to be honest. Ain't no way I could do that. Not now. And I don't know if I could in 2 years or 5 years, about the loss piece, right?
Yeah, it's definitely because for those who can.
you gotta work with somebody on that. Don't try to do it on your own, is what I would say, right? Even if it means going to her and paying for a session or two, I think it would be well worth it. But yeah, it was great. Thank you, Jamal, for last week saying, hey, she wants to reconnect. And we're at an hour and a half. I think we are ready to say toodles if there are no more comments or questions.
It doesn't look like it. Let me just see if anyone else joined. Nope.
And I have one Altadena coming on Thursday. So if you want to hear from a different builder, like I said, people, coming in more and more, one Altadena will be on with me on Thursday. His name is, I got to call him today, Sakrut, I think it is. Sakrot, I think it is. But I got to give him a call today. So yeah.
Marcus says we rock.
Thanks, Marcus.
Thank you so much, man.
All right. Well, I got to jump. I have a call in about 2-3 minutes that I need to be on and for work. And this was heavy, but in a good way, because I feel lighter and I feel like I could breathe. So not in a negative way, heavy. Heavy sometimes could have different connotations, but this was a great show. And I really hope that people feel that they benefited from it and that they will connect at some point with Dr. T.
Likewise. So with that, I'll hit the button. Say deuces, y'all. Peace.
Toodaloo. Have a great week or a great day. See y'all tomorrow.
Hold on. The outro wasn't there. Hold on.
That's all I was having you check.
I'll say.
The first one was there.
That's how I'll say goodbye. Goodbye. As a leopard.
I think I got the right one. All right. Peace.